Okay, we'll be starting section 6.4 today, brackets and factoring. It could also just be called distribution and factoring. As we talked about in class, very often we go forwards and backwards. Now you guys have all seen in class many times that 3 times the parentheses is saying 3 times both of these things. Okay, it's like saying 3 times 4 plus 3. Okay, that's 3 times 7, or 21. But another way to do that is say, oh, we can multiply 3 times 4 and then add, and I'll do this in blue, 3 times 4 and then add 3 times 3, right? And so this is the same thing as 12 plus 9, or 21, right? We should get the same answer either way. So since we can't add x plus 3, we say, all right, let's distribute this 3 times x plus 3 times 3. Okay, so we get 3x plus 9. Okay, you guys have done this before, you've seen it, this is easy. What we're going to be working on now is we'll give you this second part as the question, and we will say factor it and get back to this. Alright, so nothing too tricky. Okay, so they start you off with kind of baby steps. They start you off with a problem that's halfway set up. The real question is saying factor this thing on the left. And then they've done half the work for you. They've said the biggest thing that can come out of 6x and 4y, the biggest number they have in common that you can divide both of them by nice and evenly, is 2. So they said, all right, we already pulled the 2 out. So you can see 2 times 3x will be 6x. So they're saying 2 times this second term will be 4y. And so, you can just see that in this case it's going to be a 2y in there. Okay, but really what you're looking at is once you figure out that for this 6x plus 4y, you go, oh, the thing that can go into both of these numbers evenly is 2. And so what you do is you put some parentheses, you divide everything by 2, and you put that 2 out front. Okay, so this is the same thing. It's basically saying divide by 2 and multiply by 2. So you haven't changed the number. Okay, so then you get 2 times 6x divided by that 2 you took out, is 3x, plus 4y divided by that 2 that you took out and you put it out here, right, is going to be left with 2y. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so again, it's starting us off halfway set up. However, this time it doesn't tell you what you're pulling out. It gives you the hint that this first part here is 3s, and so 3s times, we can go, oh, we're pulling out a 5. Okay, so you could work that way. But better yet is just look at this original problem and say, well, what numbers and letters can we pull out? Now, in this case, we can't pull s or t out, because one has an s, one has a t. We can't pull out 15, we can't pull out 25, because they don't go into both. So the biggest number that goes into both of these is 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 15s plus 25t, and we are going to write the 5 out here, and then we're going to divide both of these by 5 because we're pulling it out front. So we get 5 times 3s, that's what's left after you take the 5 out, plus, divide by the 5, 5t. So we're just doing the opposite of distribution. And again, if you want to check at the end, when this shows up on a quiz, you can just redistribute this really quickly and say, yeah, 5 times 3s. I would go, if I was checking this work, 15s plus 25t, and you could double check that and say, oh yeah, that's my original thing here. Okay, so we're just really doing the opposite of distribution. All right, and then they just start you from scratch, and they say, all right, what can you do with this? What numbers, letters, what can you factor out of this? Okay, so just looking at this, I can tell there's no A in both, there's no B in both. 20 definitely doesn't go into both. 8 definitely doesn't go into both. So what's the biggest number that I see as a common factor of these that can go into this? Is 4, right? The only numbers that go into 8 are 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. And so we just tried. 8 didn't work because 8 doesn't divide into 20. And the next biggest, 4, works. Okay, we can divide 4 into both. So we get, I'll do it in blue here, we get that our 20a plus 8b is now a 4 out front, and we divide both of these by 4. Okay, so this leaves us with 4 times, and this will be 5a, plus 8 divided by 4 is 2b. Okay, so pretty straightforward. All right, and finally, as this culminates, kind of grand finale, it's just them trying to confuse you with some x squareds and y squareds and so on, okay? So we can check and we say, okay, well, can we pull out an x or an x squared? And we go, no, there's no x's in this term, so we can't pull an x out of everything. We say, okay, well, can we pull a y or a y squared out? And we say, well, no, there's no y's at all in this term. So we can't pull an x out, we can't pull a y out. So they're just there to scare you. Okay? So what we're going to do is take this 12x squared plus 24xy plus 18y squared. And we're going to figure out what's the biggest number that goes into these. Okay? I could see it already, but let's just do some checking, okay? So you just pick one of these and maybe list their factors. So I'll choose 18. So it could be 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and that's it, okay? So let's check if 18 goes into all of them. Well, obviously 18 does not divide into, whoops, I'll use a different color. 18 doesn't divide into 12, so it's not 18. Okay, let's try 9. Again, 9 doesn't divide into 12, so it's not 9. Let's try 6. Oh, 6 divides nicely into 12, divides nicely into 24, divides nicely into 18. So let's pull out a 6. That's our biggest number that we can pull out. Okay, so this is going to become 6 times, and this is going to be 12x squared over 6. This is going to be 20 plus 24xy over 6 plus 18y squared over 6. And so once we divide all of these by 6, we get 6 times, and this is 2x squared, plus 4xy, plus 3y squared. And you can tell now by looking, 2, 3, and 4 have nothing in common. So we have pulled out absolutely everything that we can, and here is our answer. Okay, so don't get scared just because there's an x squared or a y squared. It's the same thing. You really care about the numbers in most of these problems. All right, good luck on the homework, and I'm excited to see you guys after paternity leave.